has come. Tom Brady is no longer a New England Patriot. I can't believe I just said that. I mean, who would have thought that this would actually happen? I mean, especially now, after what seems like weeks of speculation, months of speculation, what seems like years of speculation of Tom Brady potentially leaving the Patriots. It's finally come true. Those who started the rumors, those who have been building it up, those who have been talking about it in the media, they were right. I was wrong. I thought Tom Brady would stay. I thought the Patriots would bring him back for one last run. And it's sad. You know, Tom Brady will always be remembered as a Patriot, and he's always going to be my favorite NFL player, my favorite athlete, period. And it's going to be a new era in New England. It's going to be a different team. It's going to be a different vibe. The fans are definitely going to feel it from day one. And whoever replaces him is going to feel some serious pressure. But I think, you know, when I immediately saw the news, I wasn't so much sad. I wasn't mad. I wasn't shocked. Because, one, I've been prepared for this moment for a while now, it seems like. And two, there's a part of me as a Brady fan, I kind of want to see what he'll be able to do somewhere else. And, you know, as a Patriots fan, it sucks that Brady won't be the quarterback, but, I mean, he's won 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots. How much more is he going to give the Patriots organization? How much more is he going to give us Patriot fans? So, I hope there are no Patriot fans out there that are mad at Tom Brady. I really hope not. And I think this is a moment to realize, wow, you know, not everything lasts forever. Even Tom Brady in a Patriot uniform, which seemed like it would last forever. It just so happens that Tom Brady has outplayed playing for New England, which is absolutely an incredible achievement if you're Tom Brady. But I kind of want to see, the creative mind inside me wants to see, and the curious mind inside me wants to see as an NFL football fan, where will Tom Brady go? What will Tom Brady do in that place with that team? And what will happen to the dynamic between Brady and Belichick now that they're separated? What is Belichick going to do after Tom Brady? Is he going to decide to rebuild this team? Is he going to decide to try and win right now and potentially trade for a quarterback that can help you do that? Or is Tom Brady going to get the last laugh? You know, is Tom Brady going to go to, whether it be the Chargers or the Bucks, and have success there and go out winning with another team? Kind of like his old rival Peyton Manning. This is a crazy moment in the NFL. This has already been a crazy offseason, and this might be the most memorable offseason of my life, because this is the offseason that will be known no matter what happened. You know, no matter what happened, whether that was the DeAndre Hopkins trade, whether that's if Cam Newton gets traded, whether that's whatever. Tom Brady, this is the offseason. This is the year, 2020. Tom Brady left the Patriots. Tom Brady is no longer a New England Patriot. The greatest quarterback ever to play in pro football, one of the greatest athletes ever, is no longer a part of his team. The team that he helped build. And I think that's something special about Tom Brady and his legacy. Those athletes that are able to generate a legendary team. The Patriots are now in the status of these legendary franchises when you think about them across the sports landscape, whether that's in football alongside the Cowboys and the Packers and these teams that were and the Steelers, teams that were legendary far before New England ever became a thing. Right? You look at whether it's basketball with the Lakers and the Celtics or hockey with the Canadians. I mean, there are certain teams and certain players that have been able to elevate, or baseball with the Yankees, the Red Sox. There's certain players that will stick with that team and certain players that have made that team. And before Tom Brady, the Patriots were basically a middling franchise, and you could argue even worse off than that. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in this era of Patriot football has made the Patriots arguably the most legendary and the greatest NFL franchise over just 20 years. In 9 out of 18 years, 50% of his NFL Patriot career, he took the Patriots to the Super Bowl. In 6 of those 9 Super Bowls, he won the game. Imagine that. Imagine being a fan of that, right? And I'm just lucky to have been in that spot. I'm lucky to have, as a little kid, have picked Tom Brady. And I think, looking back at it, I think Tom Brady is the reason why I became a Patriot fan. I don't know what it was about him, whether it was his story, whether it was the confidence, whether it was the fire, the competitive fire within Brady. But, that's the immediate thing. That's the first thing I think of back when I was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old or 6 years old, picking my favorite team. And because I'm a displaced fan, I'm not a fan from Boston, I could have picked anybody. I could have picked my dad's favorite team, the Cowboys. I could have picked the Seahawks, who I'm from British Columbia, Vancouver, so they're very close. I could have picked them. Everybody else seemed to be picking them. I could have picked a better team at the time. I could have picked maybe the Colts with Peyton Manning. That was very popular. But there was something about Tom Brady. There's something about the Patriots. And I think that always stuck with me. And Tom Brady being a part of the Patriots has kind of molded me as a person. So, there's never going to be a player, an athlete that surpasses Brady in my mind. There's never going to be a player that I love more for the Patriots. There's never going to be a player that I love more for any of my favorite teams. Tom Brady, whether it's, from a little kid till now, he's just made a really big impact on my life. And, I just want to say thanks, Tom Brady, for being a part of the Patriots. And I wish you the best. People are I don't know where Patriot fans stand now. I don't know whether they're going to become a fan of 2 teams per se, but I definitely find myself in that mindset. I feel like some people actually ask me, am I still a Patriots fan? Yes, I am. I'm going to be a Patriots fan probably till I die, but I've always been bringing up over these last few years, especially running this YouTube channel, I find myself to be a fan of every team. And maybe that's what makes this transition from Tom Brady into a new era of Patriot football a little bit easier for me, because I follow every team, I cover every team, and I feel that I need to know about every team, and I need to have the details down on every team, that I am in some way, shape, or form finding myself cheering for every team in certain aspects. So it does make Tom Brady going to a different team a little bit easier. If I had to pick the team that he goes to, I would like him to go to the Chargers. Obviously, I've always kind of had a little bit of a soft spot for the Chargers. I've always really liked them. I've loved their uniforms. I've loved back in the LT days, they had a really great team, and I liked LT, and kind of from there on, I liked the Chargers. So if he were to go to a team, I would like it to be the Chargers. I also think from a Tom Brady dynamic, I feel like it's better for him for his personal life and building his business and brand in TB12 to be in LA rather than Tampa Bay. I feel like the weapons there are very good. You have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, 2 different type of receivers, but Mike Williams is even getting better. I think he might even be better than Keenan Allen this time next year. And Keenan Allen is an awesome receiver who can do a lot of the things that Edelman can do as a route runner. A very, very good receiver in his prime. Hunter Henry is just entering his prime as a tight end. They traded for Russell Okung at tackle, so that's awesome. And I don't think they're too many pieces away from the offensive line to making that a really good unit. And you have Austin Eckler, who is like a better version of Danny Woodhead for Tom Brady to throw the football to. He'll be maybe the best receiving back that Brady's ever had, and that says a lot. He's in the mold of Kevin Falk. He's like a better version of James White, right? So it's going to be awesome if he goes there. And then the defense is awesome. Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Derwin James, Casey Hayward. They have the team, if they get a Brady, to really make some noise in the AFC. And that's really where I hope he goes. Not to mention they also have the Michigan colors as well, so maybe he'll be thinking about that. And then you could possibly throw in the wrench here. of Antonio Brown, right? Wherever Brady signs, being that it's not New England, it probably gives it a higher opportunity for it to happen, because Antonio Brown basically said he wants to play with Brady, and Brady has basically said everything but he wants to play with Antonio Brown. So if you add Antonio Brown to the Chargers or the Bucs, how much more dynamic does that make that offense, right, from a football perspective? For Tampa Bay, I like Tampa Bay for Brady. I feel like Arians, Bowles, they have the better coaching staff, and that might be a big selling point for him. Thinking that the money is about even, $30+ million, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. I think at the end of the day, what he's looking for is a team that he feels is better to win at right now in the next 2 years, and he feels like is better for his personal life, is better for his family, is better for his brand going forward after football. I think all of those things need to be in consideration for Brady, and I think that they are. So, looking at the Bucs, I mean, you have Evans, you have Godwin, you have O.J. Howard, you have Cameron Brate. Really, I think the differences are, for me, is, yes, the Bucs have a really good front seven, and their defense improved a ton last year, but they still have missing pieces in the secondary, and their offensive line is still a little rough. So you would need to add to both of those areas throughout free agency and the draft. And I only wonder how this is going to affect free agency, you know? How is this going to change people's perspectives? I think there's a lot of free agents out there who are veterans who are waiting to see where Brady signs, because that might actually be a big deal. You know, he's going to have some pulling power, and teams are instantly, kind of like the LeBron effect, instantly going to have that advantage in negotiations with free agents. We have Tom Brady. We have the chance to win a Super Bowl right now. We're going all in. Would you like to join? You know, imagine some of those veterans out there like Emmanuel Sanders, for example, who could be sitting on the fence of where he's going to go, and all of a sudden he's pulled in to go with Tom Brady, somebody of that regard, right? So this affects free agency, this affects the NFL, this affects the Patriots, this affects fandom, this affects sports. This is crazy. This is an end of an era. This is an end of the most dominant NFL dynasty. It's crazy to say. Now, is there a chance that it continues with the Patriots winning? I won't rule that out, but with Brady separated from Belichick, that is the line. When you separate those two guys, when you get rid of Brady from the Patriots, that is the end of the Brady-Belichick era as we know it. And no matter if the Patriots go on to win 6 more Super Bowls in 20 years, which I would love, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love, it's still a different era. It will be known as a different era. Whether that's the Stidham era or a different quarterback or whatever it is, we'll have to wait and see. And that's where I'm here to discuss. So I wanted to get that off my chest before I get to the comments, before I get to the news, before I break down the rest of free agency, and before I break down some of the possibilities for the Patriots going forward, and of course the big news of Cam Newton being potentially traded, and if the Patriots will be involved in that. So those are my first thoughts with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Some of you guys asked me if I was okay. Yes, I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm not getting too emotional about this. I've been prepared for this. I've prepared for this moment. But also, I just kind of want to see what happens. You know? I just want to see what happens. And I'm an NFL fan at the end of the day. I'm a football fan, a sport fan at the end of the day. I think this is great for sports. I think this is epic for sports media. And I think this is just an awesome story that's taking place right in front of our eyes. And you can always count on Tom Brady to come through in the biggest of moments. And of course he comes through in the coronavirus to provide us with some entertainment. So there you go. If you didn't love Tom Brady before, you should now. All right, let's get to the comments, guys. Okay. So I asked you guys right off the top, what do you think about Tom Brady leaving? And some of you have responded. Bills Mafia says, hallelujah. Ultra says he can't believe it. Nem Skits says, first, also, you want to know what I think about Tom Brady? live in the Patriot. I think it's the best. I don't even know what you're trying to say there. Rick Badboy says Panthers are idiots for falling for Teddy Bridgewater hype. He's a game manager. We'll get to that. Nicholas is excited that the Bears finally signed somebody. Atlanta fan says, just here to make sure Mitch is alive after the news. Thank you. Kellum Boys is in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Sammy says, Cam don't even want to leave. Guitar-loving Tina says, my heart is in pieces. Trick says, Bills taking the division. Bills fans are happy. Bills fans are happier than anyone, because if anyone was the end of the Bills, or the destructor, the absolute dominator of the Bills, it was TB12. Jeremy says, let's see how loyal the Pats fans really are. Turtle says, Mitch is a Bills fan. Guitar says, do you think the Pats should blow it all up? Okay, let's go to that conversation. So, this is interesting because I feel like looking at the options right now that I know of. So, Cam Newton trade is an option. Jameis Winston is a free agent. It looks like Phillip Rivers is going to the Colts. Teddy Bridgewater is signing with the Panthers. Andy Dalton is still out there for trade. Nick Foles is still there for trade. Who else? They have Jarrett Stidham, obviously. I feel like there's somebody I'm missing. Well, that's pretty much everybody. Keenum signed. Mariota signed. So those are all the options. Unless there's a quarterback out there like maybe Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, somebody that's potentially could be traded, but nobody's really talked about it. I don't think so, but I'm just throwing that out there. This is how I look at it. So if you're the Patriots, you're moving on from Tom Brady. I feel like they could go in different directions here. I still think they're a couple pieces away from being a competitive team in the AFC, even without Tom Brady, depending on who the quarterback is. Like, if you traded, let's say you traded for Cam. If you were to bring in a receiver and a tight end and have Cam, I still think you're about a wild card team if he's healthy, right? So, going down the route of Cam, he has a 1-year contract. It's worth $21 million. To me, that's a steal for whoever gets Cam Newton. Because if Cam Newton is Cam Newton, you're looking at a top 10 quarterback. You're looking at an elite quarterback. And I can only imagine what he would do within a Josh McDaniels offense. I mean, Josh McDaniels is a guy that he drafted Tim Tebow. I mean, there's a reason he drafted Tim Tebow. He saw the potential in that type of quarterback. Cam Newton is basically Tim Tebow realized. Right? Cam Newton's basically what Tim Tebow could have been if he was actually a good football player, right? So, I mean, that would be intriguing for multiple angles. It would also be very exciting as a fan of the Patriots, and also as a fan of Cam. I'm a big fan of Cam. I mean, I would argue he might be my second favorite quarterback in the league behind Brady. So I think that would be awesome. If there is any quarterback out there that I feel like would give you an opportunity that is available, Cam Newton would be the guy, because he's a former great quarterback that's actually pretty cheap, and the contract is only 1 year, which means if it doesn't work out in 1 year, you can just move on from Cam and then go about rebuilding. So personally, my opinion is you trade for Cam Newton, you see if it works for a year, you try and go about it as if you had Brady and build your team and try to win for 1 year. It's $21 million for 1 year. I mean, Brady's going to sign for $30 million. That's another $9 million to spend on a receiver or a tight end. And I think this is kind of a Patriot maneuver, because you're getting a player that's probably undervalued. Yeah, sure, he has injury risk, but you have Stidham anyways, right? So if you believe in Stidham, Stidham is still there. If Cam is hurt or whatever, you give Stidham the opportunity. So there's an opportunity to do both. There's an opportunity to both potentially win with Cam, but also if you don't have Cam, you can see what Stidham is made of, right? So I think there's the opportunity this season for the Patriots to do both if they so choose. Now, the other avenue they could go is they could completely rebuild, which doesn't make a lot of sense because I guess it still makes sense, but they re-signed Matthew Slater and Devin McCourty, who are two veteran players. I guess you want to remain important for the Patriots is that identity. It is that culture, and McCourty and Slater will carry that culture. So I understand why signing them with or without Brady is important. But at the same time, those are veteran players that, the space and the cap would have been better utilized in the future. Like, they probably would have rather went to a team that could win. I don't know. But going forward, if you want to rebuild, I say you just give Stidham the opportunity and you go with Stidham. If you really like a guy in the draft, you can draft one and then have him compete with Stidham and see who's better and just play the best guy. And I would probably not sign any big name free agents, just bring in very low tier guys and see how the quarterback is this season. This season would just be about figuring out who the quarterback is for the future. Is it a guy that you draft? Is it Stidham? Who is it? And then next year, you kind of try to form that game plan. But I really don't see Belichick going that avenue. I see him, for selfish reasons, I would understand why he would want to continue to try to win no matter who the quarterback is, because he wants to prove that he is the valuable person. And I always feel like between Brady and Belichick, because they've been known as this one unit, that they have always felt that they could be better on their own and they could still do this on their own. So I think that's the question for Belichick. What does he want to do? Does he want to prove to everybody that it's him and not Brady? Does he want to try to continue the legacy of the Patriots going forward by rebuilding this team? Maybe they have a down year for 1 year, but they will be able to rebuild. And I have no doubt in my opinion that Belichick will be able to revamp this team and get them back to a winning caliber team because he's the greatest coach ever and because he's one of the smartest, probably the smartest football mind ever, right? So I feel like Belichick could retool this team, could rebuild this team, and I feel like he's not going to leave the Patriots on a sour note. So it's ultimately up to his decision-making. Robert Kraft is leaving it in his hands. Will he ultimately decide to rebuild? The reason why I like Cam Newton is because, or I like the Cam Newton trade possibility, is because it's only one season. And if it does work out, it works out. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a losing season anyways, more than likely with Jarrett Stidham. So that's how I feel. I don't think this team is a competitor in the AFC if they don't have a Cam Newton caliber quarterback. If they have Stidham, I think he's too inexperienced to take this team to the playoffs. Maybe he is better than we realize and he gets them to 8-8, but I think that's kind of wishful thinking in my opinion. I think a rookie, if you had Tua or if you had Herbert or whoever it is, I still feel like 8-8 is wishful thinking, even with a really good defense. Now that you've lost Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins, I still think that's tough. I would prefer, if you're trying to win, I would prefer to go with Cam or just go with Stidham, because Stidham doesn't cost anything, and you could just build the rest of the team, build that dominant defense up, sign a receiver or tight end, and try and go with that. So that's kind of how I feel about the Patriot possibilities. For another veteran option, I wouldn't mind bringing in Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton was a better option than Teddy Bridgewater, even though Teddy Bridgewater is now signed with Carolina. I think Andy Dalton has been slightly underrated in his career. He has physical talent. He has a decent arm. He's experienced. He's played in big moments. And I actually think he would fit this offense quite well. So if they were to bring in like a veteran to compete with Stidham for the job, I think Dalton would be the guy over like Nick Foles, somebody like that. So if they can't get Cam in a trade, I think Dalton would be the route to go as well. So we'll have to see what Belichick does. Ultimately, in Bill I trust, in Bill we trust, and he is the smart football mind, smarter mind than I am. So there you go. Let him decide. We'll see what he does. Just checking if there's been any moves recently. Okay. All right. Rick Badboy says I was blinded by the love for my team. Ultra says it's okay, Mitch. What else we have here? Laker fan says Brady the Chargers. Jesse says Panthers should still consider drafting a quarterback. Jesse says I'm pissed my Packers couldn't get Littleton. Ultra says Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to accomplish what they did in a salary cap era will never be duplicated. James says, hey Mitch, check out my latest Instagram post. You'll love it. Uh-oh. Rick Badboy says, Jesse, I'm pissed too. We literally paid Kirksey the same money. Run CMC says, why Teddy though? Turtle says, hope y'all know Tom Brady won't reveal his team today. That's true. Atlanta fan says, F that. Patriots better not get Trevor Lawrence. Jacobs, that's a possibility. Jacob says, what will the Packers do? I don't know. Cause CCG says he's definitely not going to San Francisco. Yeah, well, San Francisco's already said they're not in the conversation, so unless they make a last-minute run, it's not happening. New York Phenom says, LOL, Mitch about to jump off the bandwagon. Nicholas says, Mitch, we know you're a Lions fan. Why? Kevin says, Mitch is about to cry. Listen to his voice. Rick Badboy says, I know, right, Kevin? New York Phenom says, quit crying, Mitch. You guys are about to get Cam Newton. Ultra says, yeah, I feel bad. Not for some of the toxic Pats fans, but for Mitch. Kevin Durkant says, let Mitch show his emotion. Y'all got some clowns. Ray's boy says, Allen and Williams are nowhere near what Evans and Godwin are. Okay. Let's just say, I would probably lean to the Chargers offensive line over the Bucks. I don't know. It's pretty close. I would say Eckler's better than their running backs. I would say Henry's better than their tight ends. It's a close conversation for sure. And their secondary is a lot better in LA. Jeremy says, but the coaching's better in Tampa. I'll give you that. Jeremy says they got to face Mahomes twice a year, though. I don't think that matters. You're going to have to face him in the playoffs anyways. Mean Joe Green says Patriots till death. Thank you, Tom, for the last 20 years. Been a fun ride. Also, I think you could argue that the Chargers with Brady are just as good as the Chiefs. I mean, how far off are the Chargers from a talent perspective to the Chiefs? I mean, really the difference with the Chiefs and the Chargers is Mahomes. If you put Mahomes on the Chargers, you take him off the Chiefs, Chargers probably win the Super Bowl too. So, it's pretty close. Brian says, who is going to be the new starter in New England? I answered that question. Ultra says Dan Quinn coming in to replace Bill Belichick. Yeah, I hope not. Kevin Durkant says AB to the Bucks would literally make Godwin a number 3 option, and that's scary AF. I agree. If Brady comes to Tampa, can you guys pray for me? Ultra. Patriots, the farewell tour. It never happened. Yeah, Gronk and then Brady. 2 years in a row, bro. 2 years in a row. Ultra says the Titans will own the AFC South. Colts with Phillips. Ooh, some happy the dynasty is over. I don't think the Raiders are in conversation with Brady. That boy Devin says Dolphins are going to win the AFC East. Dolphins have been making some moves. Damn, I just skipped a bunch of comments, guys. Thank you for being here live, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike the like button. And of course, subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL just like this. How do I feel about Robert Quinn? We'll get into the signings in just a little bit, guys. Patriots should sign Nathan Peterman. There we go. Nathan Peterman, the future. John says, Milani going to be torn between Dolphins and Pats. Book it. Texans fans are so rattled right now. It's incredible. All right, should we get into the free agency stuff? Actually, you know what we should do? Let's check Ian Rappaport real quick. Colin Cowherd said, breaking, just got a text, Tom Brady made his decision. And if Colin Cowherd made the tweet, I think it's the Chargers. And that's exactly what Dan Orlovsky says. All right, we'll see. We'll see if that breaks while I'm live or if it breaks tomorrow. Okay, where do we even start? How about we go with teams that Cam Newton could be traded to? Let's start with that. So let's start with that news, because that's big news. All right. Cam Newton is officially on the trade block. The Panthers are looking and searching for trades for the former MVP of the NFL. Back in 2015, Cam Newton was the best quarterback in football. He's had some great seasons since then, but he's also had a lot of injury issues and some down points. Cam Newton is still, when he is healthy, in my opinion, one of the elite quarterbacks in football. He is on a 1-year, $21 million contract, and that opens up to a lot of possibilities across the NFL. There are some quarterback-needy teams that I'm sure will be calling the Panthers. The question is, how much will Cam Newton really be looking for in terms of what will the Panthers be looking for back from Cam Newton? Will that be a first, which I doubt? Will that be a second and a third, a second rounder, a third rounder, a fourth round? How much are the Panthers going to want in return for Cam Newton? I think that's the ultimate question. Now that the Panthers have signed Teddy Bridgewater, they look to be going into the future with Teddy as their starter for the short term at the very least, if not the long term, and then potentially, if they need to, draft a quarterback if Teddy is not the guy. But they appear to be going with Teddy Bridgewater for the future. Cam Newton is on the block, and that makes this Cam Newton trade very, very possible. I'm going to break down some teams that I feel Cam Newton could go to. I feel like these would be the possibilities for Cam Newton. So let's start off with the absolute obvious team, and that is the New England Patriots. Tom Brady has announced that he is leaving from New England. So you have to wonder, is Cam Newton the guy to step in and replace Tom Brady? Now, whoever replaces Tom Brady is going to feel immense pressure behind them. I feel like Cam Newton can handle that pressure. If the Patriots are still in it for winning, Cam Newton is their guy. There's nobody else on the market, whether that's Winston, whoever it is, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, any possibility in the draft. Cam Newton is better than all of them at his peak, and Cam Newton would give you the best opportunity to win now if that's what Bill Belichick is looking toward at this moment. It really depends on what Bill Belichick wants to do, but when you're talking about Bill Belichick, he's always had admiration, respect for Cam Newton and his game. Cam Newton is undefeated versus the Patriots, so that will definitely weigh into the possibility of him coming to New England. You look at Josh McDaniels, who has a former history of wanting that quarterback within his system, drafting Tim Tebow in his Denver Bronco days, who is basically could have been, the Cam Newton of the NFL, but Cam Newton is Tim Tebow realized with actual real NFL translatable talent. And if Cam Newton is fully healthy, that's the question. Can he be healthy? I think a lot of teams are going to have to weigh that into discussion, which is kind of interesting. Like, will he be traded now? Will he be traded later in the offseason? That's the big question. Will teams actually get the right injury information? I think that's what's happening right now. Are teams looking into Cam Newton's injury history and his injury report right now, his status as of right now? We've seen his Instagram videos. We've seen the reports that he's been throwing. He's been working out. So it appears that he'll be ready to start in week 1. But the question remains, will he be healthy enough to provide a team with a starting quarterback and a good Cam Newton in 2020? That's the ultimate question. Of course, the Patriots also have Jarrett Stidham, who will be vying for the position. The Patriots could go at multiple different directions, but Cam Newton would be the number one direction for them to go if they want to win in 2020. Now, other teams that Cam Newton could possibly go towards, I feel like the Bears really come up in my mind, in the forefront of my mind, now that Teddy Bridgewater has gone to Carolina. That's out of the discussions. They've had trade talks for Nick Foles. They've had trade talks for Andy Dalton. But Cam Newton is better than all of those guys. And yes, maybe Cam would be a little bit different than what they typically have within this system, but I do feel like he would be their best option right now if they're looking to win. They just signed Robert Quinn on defense. That upgrades their defense. They have a win-now defense. They went all in for Khalil Mack. They have the weapons offensively, and Cam Newton is used to playing with less than lackluster receivers, so he could possibly make that work with Allen Robinson being his number one target. I feel like that's enough. Tariq Cohen combined with Cam Newton's ability to run. You have Montgomery at running back as well. You just signed Jimmy Graham. It appears this team is in it for winning now. So Chicago makes a lot of sense. I also feel like Nagy would probably like some of the possibilities of adding Cam Newton's ability to run and to scramble and to make plays outside of the pocket. You could add even more of a dimension that you had with Mitchell Trubisky and up it to the next level. Plus, Trubisky would actually be a decent backup for Cam Newton to run a similar type of offense, given that they're both athletic style quarterbacks. The other teams I'm looking towards, you have to really say, is Denver in the conversation? I don't think so, but they've always kind of been in the rumors for a Cam Newton trade. It does appear they're going to go with Drew Lock, but I would throw them out there as a possibility. I feel like Miami is definitely a destination that could happen. Brian Flores has really made an impact in free agency this offseason. It appears this team is not that far away from being a team that can win now. Honestly, after this free agency, even with the lackluster talent they still have on the offensive line and a few critical areas on their roster, it's not an absolute given that Miami is going to be picking a quarterback high in the draft because they don't have that number one selection. So Cam Newton could be the solution there at quarterback if Flores is willing to take a chance there. They certainly have the cap to make it happen, and they have the cap to surround Cam Newton with an offense that really would work for him. Other scenarios, other teams, I think Washington could be a place for him. Ron Rivera, former coach of Cam Newton. That's definitely a trade scenario. Given that they're not exactly sold on Haskins, I think Cam Newton would be perfect for Washington. He knows Ron Rivera. They have a good relationship. They've won before together. And he knows what it takes to build an offense around Cam Newton and build a defense that can support him and play complementary football. Washington is a team that I think a couple pieces away on defense, a couple receivers, add there, draft some in the draft. I think there's a possibility that Washington makes a lot of sense given those former ties from Ron Rivera. Other teams that make some sense, there's really not a lot of other places. If Tom Brady doesn't go to Tampa Bay, you have to wonder if Cam Newton would be the place that Bruce Arians, the quarterback that he goes after. He definitely has the arm. He definitely has the size to play within the system for Bruce Arians, and he would love to play with those weapons. I'm sure that would instantly be Cam Newton's best weapons. But Tampa is also a team that are just a couple of ways and couple of trades and a couple of signings from being a team that really makes an impact in the NFC South and in the NFC in general. It appears that the Colts are going with Phillip Rivers, but if those discussions do fall through, you have to wonder if maybe the Colts will take a chance there, but I doubt it. Those are really the teams that I see being in play for Cam Newton. And the absolute last one would be the LA Chargers. If the Chargers are not able to add Tom Brady, if Tom Brady does not go to LA, Cam Newton could potentially go there. And I feel like with all the reports of Anthony Lynn wanting a mobile quarterback, Anthony Lynn working with Tyrod Taylor already being the supposed transition quarterback there. I think there's an offense you can build for both quarterbacks that would work. You have a really reliable backup who could play the same style of offense there. You have a team that's ready to win now, and you're really just a quarterback away from making the playoffs again after a down season in 2019. So those are all the possibilities, the trade possibilities, and the teams that I feel will be in the market for Cam Newton and the fits within those systems. So there you go. Cam Newton possibilities for potential teams, potential fits, and potential trades. Let's check the phone real quick. Nothing. I want to see if this Tom Brady news happens today or not. All right. What's the first signing you want me to talk about? Bring it up. Let's go. First signing. First person to say it. I don't know why the Colts haven't considered Tom Brady. No idea. Brissett to New England makes sense. Yeah, did somebody bring that up in the chat? That's a good point. Even though I don't think he's going to be ever an NFL starting quarterback, I do believe like he would be a solid bridge guy. Okay. Teddy. Run CMC said Teddy first, so we're going with Teddy. All right, let's check out those Teddy Bridgewater. I haven't seen the numbers yet, so I need to check that out. Whoa, my screen just went crazy. Man. Okay. Teddy. How do Panthers fans feel about Teddy? That's my question. Okay. 3-year, $60 million. Deal is not done. They work out the details, but it's expected to be complete. Okay. Wait. Is it complete, though? Finalizing. All right, they're finalizing. Okay. Teddy Bridgewater will be the Carolina Panthers' new quarterback in 2020. The Panthers have officially decided that they are moving on from Cam Newton. The Cam Newton era in Carolina is over, and they need a new quarterback to take hold of this offense, to lead this team into the future. Of course, a transitional period for the Carolina Panthers franchise. First, they fired Ron Rivera. They are moving on from Cam. That era is done. Matt Rule is here. Joe Brady is here. Teddy Bridgewater fits that system well. Now, if you know me, I'm not a huge Teddy Bridgewater guy. But I do feel like Carolina was maybe the best destination for him of all the teams. And I actually predicted him to sign in Carolina before free agency began. Because I feel like this offense and what Joe Brady is going to bring to the NFL and bring to the Panthers is a good fit for Teddy Bridgewater's skill set. I think what Teddy does offer you in a positive way is a quarterback who makes very good decisions, a quarterback who makes quick decisions, a quarterback with a pretty good release, and he is beloved by teammates. They are going to love him from day one. He's a very respectable dude. He's a good leader, and he's had experience winning before in the NFL. He has a track record of winning both with Minnesota and in New Orleans. The question is he really that quarterback that's a franchise quarterback? And my question is, I don't really know. And honestly, I don't really think so. The way that I look at Teddy Bridgewater is he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. But he's nothing that's going to be and take you to the promised land. I think what happened last year with the Saints has kind of messed with people's minds a little bit. I mean, Sean Payton is known for maximizing everybody on offense, whether that's a quarterback, a receiver, a running back, an offensive line, it doesn't matter. Sean Payton made Teddy Bridgewater look really good last year. Questions before last year were there for Teddy Bridgewater. Was he still a capable NFL starter? And he really didn't look like it until Sean Payton got his hands on him for that season and that stretch. And he was great. He was productive. But really the way I look at Teddy is he's going to be a game manager for you. He's going to be a guy that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's going to be a guy that doesn't really necessarily win you a lot of games, but doesn't also lose you a lot of games. He's going to be a player that manages. He's going to be a player that is well respected and just a guy that's a really good... I think the thing about Teddy Bridgewater is he's a really good person. Like, everything I hear about Teddy Bridgewater is he's just a really good guy to be around, and that impact on a young, new tenure is really going to be a positive one, and whether it works out or not, it's not going to go sour with Teddy Bridgewater. So those are all positives. He's accurate, but he doesn't have the biggest arm. And the reason why I like him going to Carolina as opposed to a place like Chicago or New England is he won't have to deal with the elements as much. He won't have to deal with the wind or the rain or the snow as much as he would in Chicago or New England. I mean, this is a guy that wears 2 gloves. He's 2-glove Teddy, right? So, yeah, I think he'll be able to win you some games. But I don't think he is a guy that's going to instantly change your team, instantly make a major impact. He is about that Alex Smith, Andy Dalton level quarterback, middling of the NFL. And if you surround him with good talent, he'll make plays. But I don't think he's going to be making plays like Cam Newton made plays in his prime. So I don't mind this move. I actually feel like if he landed anywhere as a starting quarterback, Carolina has the best opportunity to make something happen with him because I think Joe Brady's offense suits him very well, and I think Bridgewater can execute it very well. And Bridgewater has shown that he can execute a lot of different offenses. So I like Bridgewater in Carolina. I don't love it because I don't love him as a quarterback, but I think he's a solid guy for Carolina to take into the future. There you go. There's Teddy Bridgewater. And of course, guys, I'll be releasing all of these going forward. All right, next one. Give me the next signing. Let's go. First person to comment the next signing, I will break down. Kevin Durkant. I'm going to beat your ass in Madden real soon. Oh, Cowherd just said he heard it's Tampa Bay. Okay, let me check that real quick. Diana from ESPN says, also a note, I'm told New England was never interested in Teddy Bridgewater. The Patriots have a plan. So there you go. Where is this Colin Cowherd tweet? I want to check this before I get to the next free agent. I was told that Tom Brady signs tomorrow with Tampa Bay. That's what he says. Interesting. All right. So who is first? Robert Quinn. Okay. Robert Quinn is next on this journey. Free agency. Just got to get the contract details. Where is it? The heck? Damn, come on. Robert Quinn. Okay, there we go. 5 years, $70 million. Damn. Let's check where that lands. Sorry, guys, going through my process real quick. Defensive end contracts. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Being paid. Being paid, boy. All right. Robert Quinn, pass rusher, has signed with the Chicago Bears. The Bears will now have an awesome duo up front to get after the quarterback with Khalil Mack on one side and Robert Quinn on the other. Quinn was one of the best, most productive edge rushers in Dallas last season. He had the highest win rate in the entire NFL of all edge rushers. And I think this is a fascinating move because Robert Quinn has played on a lot of different teams since being in his heyday with the Rams. He really saw himself rejuvenate his career and kind of resurrect his career in Dallas. So he is now cashed in again. 5 years, $70 million, a contract with $30 million fully guaranteed. This is a new home for Robert Quinn for a while. And the Bears are going all in with this defense. They're going all in with this pass rush and this front seven. And I have to say, the Bears, they have one of the best pass rushes in the entire NFL. When you look at their front, their defense, it's going to be tough to pass versus this defense because of that pass rush. Now, they do need to still work a little bit on that corner position, a little bit on that secondary, and they can still re-sign Clinton Dix and all that, and we'll see what they do. But I like this move. I do feel like it's a little bit too much money for a player that I don't necessarily know fits this defense the way that they've been playing this scheme with Pagano. I mean, Quinn was more of a kind of hand in the dirt pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's going to be asked to probably stand up a little bit more on first and second on more of the base defense. But we'll have to see what they exactly do with him in nickel situations. I think he'll be really good at just adding another element, and now you won't necessarily be able to double team Khalil Mack every play. You'll also have to worry about the other side and worry about, okay, we have Robert Quinn on the other side, and we also have to worry about blocking Akeem Hicks. We have to worry about blocking Eddie Goldman and all these other guys, and not to mention potentially blitzes and all the different creative things that they can do with Quinn, Mack, and all those other guys on the defensive line. So I'm kind of mixed about this move. I like it, but I feel like it was a little bit risky for a player who's had really one good year in a long time. That 1 year good year was last year, and it's kind of like you saw this need, you saw this player out there, you release Leonard Floyd, and maybe it will work out. But, I mean, he's going to be paid as one of the top 10 pass rushers in the league, and he needs to come through because he did not come through for Miami in signing him. He did not come through really at the end of his Rams career. He's been a very streaky player. He's 29 years old. You're signing him until he's 34. It's a risky move. 5 years, $70 million. That's right in line with Danielle Hunter, who's making 5 years, $72 million, right? That's an average salary of $14 a year. Kawan Short is being paid $16, Armstead $17, Flowers $18. Watt is at $100 million, but he's only $16 on annual salary. Frank Clark's $20 million. DeMarcus Lawrence is $21 million. And when you look at it from Dallas's perspective, they just couldn't pay another pass rusher that much money. I mean, that's just too much money for them to pay. And Dallas kind of found this diamond in the rough, and Quinn resurrected his career and went elsewhere with it. Like, he's making more money on an annual basis than Brandon Graham, who's been more consistent than him. He's making more money than Myles Garrett at this point. He's making more money than Joey Bosa, who I'm sure they'll surpass him, but he's making more money than Calais Campbell. I mean, these players, Calais Campbell's been one of the best pass rushers in the league for the past 3 seasons. So, to me, it's a little bit of an overvalue, a little bit of an overpay, but if Quinn does pay off for this defense, he could be transformative for this defense. So, it's the risk you kind of got to take in free agency. Again, I'm in the middle. I'm kind of reacting to this live off the top of my head, and I feel like this is a move that could rather go really well for the Bears, or it could go very poorly. And considering the Bears have made a lot of risky moves over the last couple days, honestly, and they've made a lot of win-now moves, they're basically all in to win right now. And I guess Quinn is another move that really trends in that direction. Let me know what you guys think about this Robert Quinn signing, but I kind of feel like it's an interesting one. I really don't know how to feel about it, so let me know what you think. Those are my opinions on Robert Quinn signing with the Bears. All right, next. Who's next? Give me the next guy. Next. Is it Littleton? Who is it? Littleton. They want Littleton. Okay. Yeah, put a link to the Discord. Everybody join the Discord. We have 126 people here. If we could get to at least 50 people to join the Discord, guys, that would be awesome. Really, I'm trying to push this Discord. I'm in there every day. Ask the people in the Discord. I mean, it's awesome to be in there. It's awesome to be a part of the Bottom Line View community. You'll get all the latest uploads. I put the link in there because a lot of the times the notifications don't go through on YouTube. It's just a great way to communicate with the community here on the Bottom Line View and also with me. If you have any questions for me right away, you know, Bus Boy's been asking me these Steeler questions. I reply to him. I give him what I think. So if you want to know what I think right away, join the Discord, guys. Somebody post a link for the Discord in this chat. I might have to do it in a sec, but I'm just looking for this Littleton information. So what other signings were there? There's Littleton. There was Ogba, I think. Who else? Let me actually write this down so I don't forget. We have Littleton. Ogba. Who else? Drew Brees is a re-signing. Everyone knew that was going to happen. Jordan Phillips. I think that was it, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. And I got Littleton right, by the way. I usually have the link in the description, but when I go live, it doesn't include everything that I have in the description. So let me actually do the Discord first, and then I'll get back to breaking it down. So we're going to go Littleton, Ogba, and then Jordan Phillips. And if you have anything else you want me to cover, let me know. Okay. Here is the Discord link. Everybody join the Discord. I'm also going to put it in the description. Here we go. Okay. So Corey Littleton is up. Raiders making moves. These Raiders linebackers are a lot better now. Okay. Damn. Computer, let's go. Okay. Okay, agreement 3 years worth up to $36 million base value, 11.75 per year. That's actually a good contract. Let me see. Let's get inside linebackers. Wow. Okay. I like it. All right. Let's do it. The Las Vegas Raiders continue to upgrade their linebacking group by signing Corey Littleton, former LA Ram explosive, fast, sideline to sideline cover linebacker who's going to totally change this entire defense and give the Raiders a linebacker that they have needed for seasons. They already signed Nick Kwiatkowski of the Chicago Bears. They have signed 2 of my top 7 to 5 best linebackers on the market, and I believe that Littleton is going to be the linebacker that completely revamps this defense. I really predicted Littleton to go to the Raiders, and I'm happy that the Raiders went out and they signed him. And I think this contract is a great one for the Raiders. This is a very good value. They get Littleton for 3 years up to $36 million, and his base value of $11.75 per year up to 12. I think it's around $12 million per year. So you look at where that stands in terms of NFL linebackers right now. That's Bobby Wagner makes 18, Mosley makes 17, Miles Jack makes 14.25, Deion Jones makes 14.25, Quan Alexander makes 13.5, Van Noy makes 12.7. Littleton is right underneath him. Littleton is right in line with Jalen Smith. He's just a little bit above Blake Martinez and Bernardrick McKinney of the Houston Texans. So this is a really good value for Corey Littleton. I think Littleton is one of the best young linebackers in the league. He's only 26. He's excellent in coverage, and he makes plays. He can cover running backs. He can cover tight ends. He's athletic to do so. He can blitz a little bit. He's good in the run game. But I think the number one thing here is that the Las Vegas Raiders get a heck of a lot more explosive. They get a heck of a lot more athletic in the middle of their defense. And I think that's exactly what Mayock and Gruden have been searching for at linebacker. This was one of their worst positions last season. Checking out where he ranks in terms of PFF, he ranked as the 8th best linebacker in 2019 with a coverage grade of 82.3, which was just underneath Luke Kuechly and Deion Jones. He was one of the 10 best ranked in terms of his coverage grade, and his pass rush grade was also up there with one of the 15 best pass rushers. When you look at the total snaps he played for the Rams, he was one of the only under 15 linebackers in the entire NFL to play over 1,000 snaps, so he's a workhorse. He rarely misses games. He rarely misses a down. He could play first, second, third down. He could play in the run game. He could play in the pass game. But this is a guy that more so impacts the pass game with his ability to cover and his ability to blitz. And really, if you go back and you watch that Patriot Rams Super Bowl just a year ago, you'll see how valuable he was to the Rams defense, how good he was. I mean, covering guys like James White out of the backfield, that's no easy task. The Raiders instantly get a player that is going to be able to do that for them, which they didn't have on their roster, so it fills a massive hole. I think the Raiders are going to be a promising team going into the season, and they get another linebacker to add to this group. I really like the two that they've gone after. A really underrated signing in Nick Kwiatkowski, an all-around smart linebacker, great in the run game and good in coverage. And then they add a Corey Littleton who adds extra athleticism to the middle of this defense. So the Raiders, they've added two really good linebackers to this defense that will take this defense from here to here. That's my thoughts on Corey Littleton going to the Raiders. There you go. Corey Littleton to the Raiders. My computer is working extra hard right now for you guys. It's like, it's friggin' steaming right now. I got like 15 tabs open. Rumor that the Colts are trading Brissett. That would make sense. Guys, join that Discord. Join the Discord. Let's get it going, community. Let's get this community building. Gronk, spike the like button if you haven't already. And subscribe to the channel for more. Future quarterback, I hope, is Cam Newton. I talked about it earlier, but where do I think Clowney goes now? Dolphins and the Giants have both pretty much been eliminated. Why have the Giants been eliminated? Because they signed to Bradbury and those guys? I hope so, Scott, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, Seattle definitely is in conversation, and I think, who else is in there? Will the Colts do it? Do I think the Colts are a playoff team with Phillip Rivers? No. I still think they need to do some extra stuff. Sorry, Chauncey, I am not going to be talking about pro wrestling anytime soon. I'm sorry, buddy. Join that Discord, guys. Let's see. So I got Ogba and Phillips still on the list I got to talk about. Got a few of you in there. Kyle says Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo's a possibility for Clowney. All right, let's go with Ogba next. AFC East is the favorite without Tom Brady there for sure. How do I feel about losing Brady, Van Noy, and Collins? It sucks. It sucks. I don't know how else to put it. Who do I reckon the Patriots will release to make cap space? What did they cap space for? I don't think they're going to... They might release Burkhead, like if they had to release somebody off the top of my head. I mean, maybe Sanu. Those are two guys that come to my mind. Nobody else, really. I don't think anybody else is... Am I from Oklahoma? No. From Canada. All right. go with Ogba to the Dolphins. Another edge signing for the Dolphins. Let's check out that depth chart. So, I wish they would update the depth chart. They have Shaq Lawson, they have Van Noy, and they have Ogba now. And they have Byron Jones now. Damn! Slow down, Dolphins. Alright. The Miami Dolphins have once again added another weapon to their edge position. Another complementary piece to get after the quarterback. Emmanuel Ogba of the Kansas City Chiefs has signed with the Miami Dolphins on a 2-year, $15 million deal with $7.5 of it guaranteed. So about half of it is guaranteed. Ogba is an underrated player. I believe I listed him as one of my underrated edge players of this offseason, and now the Dolphins have completely revamped this entire position. I mean, adding Van Noy, adding Shaq Lawson, and adding Ogba. Now they have a bunch of different guys. Van Noy can play edge, or he could play linebacker. He could play a little bit of both. Ogba and Lawson are two young players that they signed to a little bit lesser of contract than going out there and going for the big guys on the market. I like this move a lot. When he was playing last year, he was really, really good for the Chiefs. He's a good pass rusher. He's very young. He's athletic. And I think he fits this defense very well. This is another piece for Flores to utilize in the pass rush. Looking at how he ranked last season for Kansas City, he ranked 40th for Kansas City, which was their highest ranked edge defender by PFF. He played 410 snaps and was a starter when he was playing, but he did get injured at the end of the season. Looking at some of his former statistics, let's just take a look here. I really like what Miami has done. You know, I love the Byron Jones signing. I love that they've added him to Howard. Now they have a shutdown corner duo, and they have some athletic guys up front that can make plays. So he's only going to be 27. He's 26 this past season. He played 10 games, had 5.5 sacks for Kansas City, which was arguably his best season yet. He had 11 quarterback hits and 6 tackles for loss. I think he fits this defense. You could do some of the things that he did in Kansas City. He also played in Cleveland from 2016 to 2018, from 23 years old to 25 years old. 5.5 sacks in his rookie year in 2016, 4 sacks, and then 3 sacks in 2017 and 2018. This is a guy that I still feel has a ton of potential to develop. He was a former pretty high draft pick in the second round for the Cleveland Browns in 2016. I believe that was the draft. He was 32nd overall, so that was the draft where New England didn't have a first-round pick, I believe. So he was technically a first-round pick. So Ogba, a lot of potential still left in this guy that I think Brian Flores can squeeze out of him, and you potentially have a guy on a really cheap contract that could be a diamond in the rough for this defense and develop into a really good pass rusher. Again, another excellent move, great value for the Miami Dolphins on the defensive side of the football, and they're continuing to build this defense forward. We'll have to see what they do at the quarterback position, whether that's the draft or free agency. We'll have to see if they continue to develop that offensive line and sign guys on the offensive line and work on this offense. But so far, the defense is looking like it's going to take huge leaps forward in 2020. So Ogba to the Dolphins. Jordan Phillips will be next on the list. Do I play video games? Yes. Big Boy is in the chat. He's not signing with the Vikings, bro. They just re-signed Kirk Cousins. That would literally make no sense. Do the Packers take Jordan Love? I doubt it. Patrick says Tom Brady signing with the Bucs tomorrow. A Human is in the chat. Let's see if there's any reports here. Jaguars tendered Keelan Cole. No, that's the latest. Brady's signing. All right, let's do Jordan Phillips. Okay, 3-year deal. Cardinals. What do we have? Is there money? Come on, give me some money. I need the details. I haven't seen any money, so, but whatever. Okay. Defensive lineman Jordan Phillips has signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Coming into the offseason, I thought that the Cardinals would target an interior defensive lineman. This one is a little interesting because it's not the typical scheme fit that I would think that the Cardinals would actually go after. But it really depends what they're looking for, how they're looking to change their defense, how schematically they're going to change. They advanced Joseph as their defensive coordinator, who's traditionally been a little bit more of a 4-3 based guy. But when you look at the nickel defense, the Cardinals definitely needed an interior pass rusher to add to the likes of Chandler Jones on the edge, and I think that's exactly what they got with Jordan Phillips. Now, I know it's a 3-year contract. I have not heard the details on how expensive it is. In terms of his PFF grading, I know a lot of people are going to bring this up. It was not very good in Buffalo last year. It was pretty low. I believe he ranked like 104th. So some people will look at this move as probably an overpaying for an overrated player that Sean McDermott maximized. But when I look at Jordan Phillips, I look at a guy that is really productive as a pass rusher. I don't think he's a great all-around defensive lineman. He might struggle a little bit in terms of run defense. He's 6'6", 341. He's a huge man. So he definitely has the size to play in a variety of different schemes. And you also have to be skeptical how he really developed this season. I mean, he went from a borderline NFL backup to like a 9.5 sack player with 16 quarterback hits and 31 tackles. He was more of a rotation guy in Buffalo, so I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are. I'm not sure how much they're paying him, but what the Cardinals are getting is a pass rusher that will help complement Chandler Jones in the interior of their defense, and that's exactly what they needed. It's a good fit in terms of a need. The question is, does Jordan Phillips live up to that 9.5 sack billing of last year, or is he not quite that player? Was it really the Bills system that squeezed the best out of him? Will that transfer to the Cardinals? That's the biggest question, but on the surface, it looks like a good move. He's 27, going on 28, and maybe he just broke out last year. We'll have to see. Cardinals fans, let me know what you think of this move. Jordan Phillips, interior pass rusher, going to the Arizona Cardinals. It's a big need that they needed, and they addressed it. So there you go. Jordan Phillips to the Arizona Cardinals. All right, those are all the latest signings, I do believe. I don't think I've missed any yet. So let me just double check that. Let me know in the chat. Did I miss any? I don't think so. Play me at channel. Play me at Madden. Do I think it's surprising that Diggs went to the Bills? No. 3 years, $30 million. Classic. That's like every signing. 3 years, $30 million. Charles says Cam to the Patriots. Jameis got signed? All right, guys, I think I'm going to end the live stream here, but I will be uploading signings as they come out throughout the rest of the day. But I got other things to do. I got to pack. I'm flying tomorrow in this whole coronavirus situation back home. I'm trying to go back home to Vancouver, and I'll be back in that studio-looking thing. So I probably won't be as active tomorrow because I'll be in the air for basically the entire day, but I'll try to catch up later. So I got a lot of work to do, uploading all these videos and packing and getting ready to leave Toronto, going back to Vancouver. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this live stream. If you did, of course, Gronk, spike the like button. And if you're new, consider subscribing for more NFL content just like this. Tom Brady, no longer a part of the Patriots. We'll see where he lands. Is it the Bucs? Is it the Chargers? We'll find out soon. It's Mitch. Peace out.